She said we gotta.
What's the kind of stuff that you fill your time with to keep you away from those feelings?
Oh, jeez.
Oh my gosh! How dare you?
After this, I am going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Because remember when he said he architects things in a certain way that he doesn't have to actually answer.
That was good.
He's the next question, so I don't want to let that slip through.
Oh my gosh! Is this what happens?
Yeah, this is normal. So what was the question?
Ask that question again.
What are the actual things that you personally fill your life with? So like there are guys out there who don't realize that they're doing this.
Oh yeah.
And so like just to like call it out and be like, are you doing this, this, and this? Well, chances are in a couple days you're gonna hear this and realize, fuck.
Oh my gosh! I think some of the things I do is my self-talk. Even though I got these post-its on my closet door that say "Be positive when you wake up in the morning, do this," I go directly past them. I go directly past them.
You didn't even have that on your wall.
So it's like, but I've heard all the stuff that people say, like you know, write it down and it becomes true. And so I wrote it down. I took the time, but then I'm like, I see
today.
it, and not today. I'm just gonna go past it. So I think a level of trying things and then avoiding it and just letting it go. Work. I find myself just constantly, you know, okay, I've got to do this, but it's stuff that I've created. So, and it's projects unfinished. So it's like, okay, I've got to do this. Let me start this. Oh, this needs to be done. Oh, I got to go speak here. I need to go do that. And so it's this constant like putting myself in positions where I'm always being sought after, but I'm empty by the time in some of those spaces. And when I do enter those spaces, I'm on. So it's like, okay, I know my professional hat. I got my mask. I'm ready. Let's go. And then by the time I'm done, I feel depleted. I'm like, they don't even know who the hell I am. It's just I've learned how to sing and dance, if I could be completely honest. And I think that's really been my biggest hurdle is that I have learned how to mask and be on for people. I think, just being on and never having an opportunity to really just be off. And I think when I am off, I'm tired. So
What does off look like for you?
Off looks like, God, how dare you ask me these questions?
He like squeezes his ass. He's like, why do you ask me about my off?
No.
Don't do that. What? Holy shit, my off. It's a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry.
We're about to learn that Cole is a very big bubble bath. like Mattis. Like,
Bubble bath, fucking bath salt, bath mask, eye things, like candles. That shit works.
It does. It really does. It does.
All right, reframe.
So,
when do you get to turn off? Like, what does that look like?
Oh my gosh. So when I do turn off, in a healthy way, so I'm gonna go healthy.
Yeah, let's go
for
healthy.
this show. When I turn off in a healthy listen. So when I turn off in a healthy way, it's John Coltrane, it's Dizzy Gillespie, it's candles lit everywhere, it's
sounds like a really nice time.
It's art everywhere. It's me just sort of like relaxing and not thinking about anything other than just being present and in the moment. And I think when I'm present and I'm in the moment with the sounds that like just feed my spirit, I'm like energized and ready to go. But I think that's few far in between that I have those opportunities to just come in and turn on John Coltrane's Sentimental Mood, light a couple candles and just sit in my space and sort of just watch what's been inside me created on, like, because I'm an art guy, so all this stuff is sort of in my living room that sort of represents who I am in the inside. So just to be present in my environment. But oftentimes, and I know when I'm destructive because that environment that I've created, there's shit all over the place all the time. So there's books here and there's pile of clothes here, and that's when I can tell that my internal stuff is showing up. I mean, is that internal or external? Yeah, external. Yeah. So it's showing up because my physical environment. I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing? But that's when I know that I'm falling apart when I can look at my environment and I'm like, oh, okay, I've not touched that in a week. What's happening? and I'm like, okay, I gotta recreate. I gotta pull myself together. But yeah, that's what off looks like, and I need more time. I need more of that. Yeah.
Take a moment to invite the viewer to reflect on what does your off time look like. And
what does it look like when you turn off?
Right.
It's like a weird like turn on, turn off kind of thing going on. I'm like, I don't like
people
that.
talk about turning up. No.
Turn off.
We're talking about turn off.
No, that's real.
All right, cool.
That's real.
We're gonna reset for a minute.
Okay.
Now I'm going to ask Jordan a question.
Yeah. Look at me already self-soothing right now.
You like squeezing your arms hard. Like,
Be cool, be cool. What's the that everybody wants to hear right now? You don't know
for
Cole
your
that well. Be cool.
Oh, no.
Be cool.
so I'm gonna get a little bit more ice
Okay.
as I ask this question.
I'm gonna crack my knuckles.
Yeah.
Viewers, that was ice.
That was tough.
Does anybody need more ice?
I don't think. Do you have extra cubes in there?
I'm not doing more
I feel
than
like I'm
this.
sweating.
Yeah, you didn't know exactly how I was gonna go.
Ooh, no, I didn't have a clue, and I was like, okay, this will be a breeze.
My off.
Right.
So I'm gonna ask this question to you specifically.
Okay. That is a bad sign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When's the last time that you felt excited
Mm.
about something?
I feel like did we talk about this already?
Very briefly, but it was very in private, and also you've also. I could be wrong. I could be wrong here,
Mm-hmm.
but like I think that one might have shut off. I hope they both didn't shut off.
You just have to ask
That
me
one's still
again.
You might have felt unexcited a lot recently, just about in general. And I'm making, as a friend, like some assumptions here.
Yeah.
But like I know there's been a few things like drumming.
Mhm.
Drumming has really been helpful for you. We've kind of talked about that a little bit in this show. But I'm talking more about like I wake up, I can't wait to go and do this. I'm like, I wake up and like, or I get to see this person, or I get to experience this. Like, because there's some things that are like kind of ingrained, like patterns that are like very familiar. And like, I think drumming for you was like, oh, yes, this is something I needed this. But it also, I don't think it doesn't create as much as excitement as other things, like when maybe you create something.
Right.
So maybe.
Yeah, no, I can explain all that.
Okay.
So I think like
Maybe I talk too much. Sorry.
it's all good. So for me, drumming is, I mean, and Cole, even a little bit of context, drumming's been something I've done for, I think it's 17 years now. So it's a long time. So it feels very normal to me, and it feels like people talk about like, oh, I just gotta go on a run and blow off some steam, right? Never have I related to that steam. Never. But for some people, they're like, that's what they do. They've been running forever. They're 40. Like, that's great. Like, cool.
All runners are 40.
They are in my head. It's like 40-year-old like men and like bald women. Like, that's what, it's not true, but so
In your head, though.
in my head.
Yeah.
So drumming was like very much so to me like that kind of, again, it's normal kind of release of energy and kind of get going. The last time I felt excited was I've been trying to do more creation of stuff. I realized for me what's like some of the common threads or strands that have been pretty consistent throughout my life. And a lot of it was like talking to my parents. I have a good relationship with my parents, and I'll go home and see them, or they'll come up to Michigan, and we'll just talk, and we'll talk about some of the hard times of this past season, or we'll talk about what's going on in their lives, or even like some old memories, and they'll always have at least started to bring up with me like, Jordan, you were always doing that. You realize, right? Like you were always, just so you know, like you wouldn't leave the kitchen, like you were always cooking, or just so you know, we had to buy you a table saw like when you were a kid because you were creating things that I had just kind of glazed over and didn't realize, or had buried out of like some persona that I was trying to form. I don't know. So they kind of did a really good job of reminding me. And so recently, a lot of my excitements come from just trying and creating stuff. On like Saturdays, I try to like maybe do something different, like create something new. And I'm always terrified every time that I'm doing it. So a couple Saturdays ago, I was like, I'm going to paint. I don't know how to paint. Like, I actually have no clue how to do it. I mean, I took art classes in like junior high, but I just went to the Michael's store, I was the only dude in there. I got so much help from 50-year-old women with like coupons.
Oh, I bet they love you.
It was like I honestly, I checked out with like 6 coupons. I handed them to the lady, and I was like, I have no idea. I gave them to her. It was just
That's
like,
sweet.
I think they said that, but it was really nice. And so for me, like the last time I was excited, it wasn't actually when I decided I was going to go create something. I dreaded it. Mm-hmm. I knew I needed to do it, and I dreaded it. And I was like, I don't want to go into this Michael's. I was like, oh, I feel so stupid. I don't want to look at this aisle. Please, nobody be around this corner. Like, it's all those thoughts. And I got excited about halfway through doing it. Kind of what you had mentioned a little bit earlier with the script. It was afterwards for you, right? For me, it was very similar. It was like, it wasn't until I was through it, and I like caught this wave, for lack of a better term. And then it was another one of these, I blinked and 5 hours had gone by.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's always a really good indicator for me of how excited I am about something. Is if I'm like, oh,
Really scared?
Like I'm terrified right now of, and I haven't started. And then it's affirmed that it was a really good and exciting thing when I realized I skipped meals. I love food. So to me, if I skip a meal,
That's real.
then I'm like, oh, I didn't do lunch today.
Yeah.
Like I was so involved in whatever that was. So that's been like, I guess some of the times I've been more excited recently. But I can't unmarry excitement and dread, at least in my head right now.
So I don't think I think those things are more intrinsically tied than what people think. This is going to be such a random quote, and I'm going to bash it up. But
So excited.
Will Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Will Smith talks about fear all the
gotta do
time. And Will Smith says that your real life is after you've gone through your fear. And that's totally wrong. But the premise is like, whatever scares the hell out of you. Like
Right.
if he went on this, forgive me, I watch his YouTube channel. He
Awesome.
went on a tubing trip with his family, and he started talking to his kids after they went on the scuba trip, and they were all really scared at the very beginning of it. But like once they calmed down, they started looking around in the ocean, and all of them were like, "Oh, once I like stopped freaking out if I could breathe or not underwater, I could see." And then I could see the turtle, and I could see the coral reefs. It was beautiful after I calmed down. But like, it was like, it was really profound. I was like, oh, you're right. Because like anything that I've ever done that has any value, I like went up and I was like, I'm gonna die. Like, or like, or no one is gonna think this is great. Or like, you know, like this girl is definitely gonna hate me. You know, like all of those things. But you're like, here I go.
So, well, that's the thing. I actually, those feelings got so powerful for me to the point where I was like, I was scared to do anything. Like I was legitimately like, get excited and create something, and I didn't want to. Like I just like my core thing.
So
I just
you
didn't
said
want to.
that when did you feel that way?
I felt that way when it was like I had an idea, right? When I was like, you know, it'd be interesting. What if I painted today instantaneously?
That's it.
Within less than a second, everything is there.
Yep.
And it's immediately there, and nobody said anything to me.
It's just you.
It's just me. It got so bad where I have 3 stools in my apartment, and one of them is usually like the one just because of where it's at that I always end up creating stuff on. And so just one day I said, okay, I need a reminder, right? I need a post-it note on my my closet. So maybe it doesn't work.
It does if you.
But I lifted this stool up, and I just literally with a Sharpie marker just wrote every single narrative that goes through my head. This is stupid. No one's gonna like this. I just messed it up. I knew it. I knew I was gonna mess this up. Like, and my stool is just covered in Sharpie marker and little drawings of like, you know, people laughing or like a TNT of like something being ruined or whatever, because I realized that's the internal narrative I had the minute I even thought about getting excited about something. And I needed just to be able to look at it, because I'm not good at saying how I feel. Like I'm terrible at it. So if I could at least look at it, it was a reflection for me to say,
Wow.
okay, those things are, I've been here before. Maybe I shouldn't stop. Maybe I should keep going. That's always the challenge for me when it comes to being excited about something.
Wow. This makes me think of something a word that I heard you use, that you said, I heard the word lie. And instantly that word stuck with me, because I'm like, I think we totally buy into the lies that we tell ourselves.
100%.
And just like run with it. Like, oh yeah, that lie is the truth. In actuality, that lie is really nothing more but the fear of the unknown. But life is in the idea. So as I'm listening to you, I'm like, shit, he just created life out of that idea.
So for the record,
Yeah.
this I'm bouncing because like I remember the first time you told me about that chair. I was like, that's probably that chair. Like if you ever like have an art show, I was like, I'm gonna buy that chair.
Yeah.
But like then when you were talking about your script earlier, I was like, I cannot wait to help him make that movie.
Right.
But like, and then like we are already working on projects that like the first times that you like brought to me, I was like,
I'm
like
shitless about.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna put one photo up on this episode about just one photo of the project that we're working on. We're still even in like talks about it. I don't know how it's gonna work out.
It's gonna work out. We're gonna manifest it.
I'm gonna put one photo up and everybody will be like, oh. But there's
Before we continue, to point out the fact that we are even here at this moment is again you facing those fears for yourself about the show. This is everything that we've been discussing about this feeling. Like we've had multiple conversations about this show being that way as well. So it's like nothing. It's almost like nothing good actually happens without facing those fears.
100%, and that's like it's the entire philosophy about it. Because like unless you're vulnerable and can actually point out the shit that scares you, and like makes you want to run for the hills, you're never gonna be able to like shove yourself up from the ground again. Like because like fear will literally be like, oh no, like I like this world.
Yep.
It's really short and I can understand it. There's nothing larger. But like when your imagination grows, you're like, maybe I can get up to my knees.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or crawling. Or I'm gonna stand.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna run. Like every single time, it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
It is just doing something. It's really hard to get yourself to do something, but just doing something is a huge antidote for a lot of that stuff.
Yep.
I mean, Cole, I feel like I have imposter syndrome, or I'm always projecting somebody. The language I always use is I send out emissaries, so I don't feel like I actually have to go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I feel like I'm just going to send out a version, and they'll interact with that, and that will be. And
Right, because like you can create like the first episode that we talked about, the Christmas party. Everyone there was like thought they had a really great time with Jordan, and you were like, this is terrible.
I hate this.
Yeah.
I played a role. I played a character. So
He still loves all of you at Burn.
Right. I get it. Oh my god.
but okay, so after that,
Like we're like really best friends. Yeah. You are my brother. Just FYI.
Well, okay.
I'm calling you.
Okay, what's going on?
You already did. Like when you called my phone,
didn't
it's like,
answer the phone.
I'm in.
Right.
Like, oh, it's me. Where are you? Oh, that was funny. No,
For those at home, we're at a house on the northeast side of a road, and he went to the southeast side of it and called, and Jordan picked up.
You scared the shit out of some woman.
I totally did. Yeah. She was peeking through a little window, and I'm like, Kaden. She was like, CJ? No, Kaden. CJ. And so she was like, no, that's not. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's so bad.
So she was frightened.
Oh,
Yeah.
was that a sneeze?
CJ?
What is that, CJ?
CJ, is he enough?
Yeah.
No, I thought it was my
Let me double
child.
check the camera.
Check your cameras. Yeah.
That was a good pause.
The
And that was a natural transition.
Isn't that great?
Also, like, this is the smoothest we've ever
Dude,
done
we're
this.
fucking nailing it.
You have no idea. Norwood's like,
Little-
wow!
Like, we're like,
It's like that.
it's over the top.
It's like
too
nice,
much
so
drinking. I think I found the remedy.
There's a lot of, like,
Do not
exhaling.
finish the
Don't
bottle.
Yes.
finish the
Just have
bottle.
as much as you would like.
Yes.
Yeah, what are you comfortable with? Just do that.
Yeah.
Stick to that today.
Okay.
That's good.
I think you're on the hook now,
I
right?
am on
Yes.
the hook.
I
Cole
think
gets
Cole
to
gets
ask
one.
if he wants to ask. You could also drink some water.
Yeah, right? I was for some apparent reason, I'm like,
I need some water.
let me
I
think.
kicked your leg. Sorry.
I had a question for you in my head, too. We
You think about it.
The nice
We
one-
always do this thing.
And we never cut it out. Take your time, yeah. That's my favorite thing about editing.
Is that how it goes? That's pressure, though. The whole music sound gives me pressure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd be like, the whole time I'd be like, that's
A
not
moment
still
of
can't think.
silence
A little
to
bit.
turn off. So
Turn up. No.
And we just start lighting candles.
Gosh, we were talking about the negative voice, the negative things that we tell ourselves. Or, God, what was I going to ask you around that? What's one thing you do to curb the negative voices inside your head?
Like,
or do you even have them?
Oh,
Do you have tons of them? I don't know.
yes. Does it not seem like I have negative voices?
you're very good.
You're very good at like
spinning things.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you? How do you?
I like so like. I have trained myself to be very positive. I naturally am an enthusiast, which means like, I mean, if he has a project, I'm going to be like,
I know. I felt it. I'm like,
you know what I mean?
The energy. Yeah.
But like that's like because I feel that because like if I have something, that would be the response. That like I might like stretch your shirt a little bit. But that's the energy that I would like returned.
Makes sense.
I have not always had that energy returned. So, because I'm like perceived as super high strung or too high energy, or there's a lot of things that it really quickly become like negative connotations with that. Like, he's not going to be able to be chill. He's not going to be able to be cool. He's not going to be able to handle the situation. He's too emotional. A lot of that kind of stuff. So what I do is like, I pretend just like everybody else does, and like I can like, all right, they can handle an 8. Or they can handle a 5, or they can handle 11, and they love it when I'm like at an 11. But then I quickly start to feel like I'm dancing for a crowd, and that sucks. So for me, when it comes to like curbing like the negative voices, I don't always win in that battle. So like, to be like super vulnerable about negative voices, the hardest points that I feel them are in my own marriage and in my own family. So like the outside voices, like currently I feel like I've actually gotten a pretty good handle on, because I've stopped caring, to be blunt. And it just, I don't have the energy to care like I used to care, because I have a child. He has Hirschsprung's disease. I have another child that's on the way in November. My wife is 7 months pregnant. I really want to be a good father. I want to be good at my job. I want to do things like this. I feel a lot of pressures, and I genuinely feel like I'm not succeeding at all of them. But I know that's generally the negative voice being like, you didn't make an episode, or you didn't call your friend even though you're sad, or you didn't go to a concert because your friend would really like to go to a concert. I mean, like, there's like, I have a lot of those things, but
what specifically?
I've had to like focus in. I've had to focus in with when my wife says certain things that make me realize that I have a lot of shit that I'm bringing to this relationship. I have to find moments to like pause and go, is this her or is this me? And generally it's me freaking out about something that happened to me when I was 7, or when I was 15, or when I was 21, or when I was 24, or when I was 27. Like, it's generally events that I'm like, oh no,
here comes
this
again.
means that I'm a failure. Oh no, I failed at the bat again. Oh no, like, it's like those moments, and then like, well, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. You know, like I'm like, not dealing with this. Like, you can't make me face this again. I'm not gonna face this again. All that. So for me, like, I don't know how to not face those negative voices, because they're like, they're real quick. I mean, they show up to mess with me real fast. I have, in the recent maybe year and a half, started to like be able to go like, ooh, it's a negative voice.
Identify
that thing is not going to rule my life. I have been able to go like, she's not talking about you. Like, she's talking about her and her experience. Very rarely. I mean, I fail at this all the time, but there have been moments where I go like, oh my God, like, this isn't me. Oh.
Can I ask you to get specific? The last time that you were not able to flag something soon enough?
like the negative voice or
Yeah.
this afternoon, Kate? Was it this afternoon that I wasn't able to flag something specific, or was it lunch? My wife just walked.
As we all just stare. Like, give us the answer.
No. So, specific finances for me are scary.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Finances are something that, like, money for me is a pretty defining thing about someone, for better or worse. And I wish that I could untie that narrative, but the reality is, like, if someone has a lot of money, I'm immediately suspicious about them.
Yeah.
I have to, like, curb that big time, because I have plenty of friends that have plenty of money.
Yeah.
They're incredible people. Why is that a thing?
Right. Yeah.
But also the flip side, like, I don't want to be too poor.
Yeah.
Like, they're like that says some shit about you too.
Yeah.
But for me, like, we have a lot of financial stuff that we have to face, and I got really riled up today because I'm like, what does this say about me? Instead of going like, okay, we have a few things that we need to figure out.
Right.
We need to put money there. We need to put money there, and like,
Right.
we need to be smart about this. Like, I wasn't able to, like, put the pause on. I was like, we need to exit this conversation because I'm gonna freak out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be specific.
Yes.
Why did you feel like you were gonna freak out?
Because if I can't control my finances, what does that mean about me? What does that say about me as a man?
Mm-hmm.
What does that say about me as a father? What does that say about me as a partner? I mean, like,
Right.
all those things.
It just calls
and
into
like
question.
immediately, I'm like, you're a failure.
Hmm.
You don't have a handle on this. Obviously, you're a failure, and you can't do this.
And she didn't say that.
No.
I don't. She never said it at all.
She was like, we have this bill and this bill, and I'm like, what?
Immediately just vomit everywhere.
I'm like, what are you saying about me? She's like, I said we have a bill. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You said I'm a failure. God, you're such a shitty person. You know, like, I go into defense and freak out mode.
Right.
So there's your super vulnerable.
And that's the narrative that you tell yourself.
Yeah. But, like, it's not true.
It is not true.
It's not true at all. Like, I've done so much work in this area, but, like, I still, like, it just takes, like, just a little slight nudge, and I'm like, want to see me be a crazy person?
I mean, honestly, like, there's a lot of
Yeah.
when you, like, go through stuff, and I mean, none of us are like 60-year-old, men who have figured, like, so much stuff out, right?
They haven't
They haven't
figured it out either. But we're not, like, I'm not used to. I haven't had enough dips in my life, I think, to understand what I'm going through when I'm going through it. Right? Sometimes. So I think, like, if I'm talking to my own father, right? He's in his 60s now. He's headed towards retirement, and he can immediately recognize, at least in me, like, yeah, you're in a dip. You're fine. You know, he can immediately.
Oh, he's like, yeah, you're losing your mind.
And I'm
and you're like,
freaking out.
why aren't you freaking out with me?
Just terror, just dread. Could be anything. Could
Paralysis.
Be thing,
Yeah.
But I'm just always, like, surprised by these dips still. And at my current age of, like, 28, I thought, 28, that's so, like, old. I would have it all figured out. I don't feel remotely prepared, man. I don't feel.
I'm 39, bro. I'm calling him bro today.
Not son.
And I think that's something I had to learn. It's evolution. It's just this constant growing and growing and growing. I think what I'm learning about myself is that boy in me still needs to be parented. Like, I still find myself dealing with my boy issues and trying to figure out how to take him with me and grow him up. And so I'm always like, because I feel as I'm listening to you, I'm like, oh my God, that's probably the younger version of himself sort of sprouting out.
Oh, yeah.
And saying,
It's 100%
I'm here. And what do we do? And I had to see that in my kids too, because I was like, yo, he's 13, but really he's emotional. He's like 8 years old. And so what I need to do is I need to go back to what I would do with my 8-year-old and sort of walk him through that process. And I think over time what's happened to me is this whole concept, there's this boy still there. And I'm finding myself, now I have to father him. My parents can't do it, now I have to do it. And so it's this constant talking to that boy and saying, bro, it's okay. Let it go.
Dude,
move on.
100%.
But yeah, so as I'm hearing you guys talk, I'm like, man, I'm thinking we just never grow out. I wonder if we ever grow out of that.
Right.
If the boy ever really grows
So
up.
I actually don't think that we ever lose those. Not entirely. I think we can understand our childhood wounds.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever leave us because How
Yeah, I don't
how
think so.
can they? Like, how could you ever grow past your father?
Right. That void will always be there.
Yeah,
That's,
right.
It's an impossibility.
Yeah.
We each have our own experiences
Yeah.
from our childhood that are all defining.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the most obvious
Yeah.
in this moment. I don't
Yeah.
like.
But you learn to live with it.
Yeah.
It's nothing
Yeah.
that ever goes away.
Right.
But you learn how to identify it, and it's almost like having a pet where you're like, hey, this is how I care for you. If I don't feed you and take care of you, you're going to attack me. And it's like,
This is so true.
but like, especially with like grief, especially with grief, there's this belief that time will heal it. And I'm sorry,
Yeah.
time does not heal all things. Time will make some things easier, but it's always going to be present.
Yeah. Right.
Like, it does not go away. And so it's a matter of like, my grief for my dad 20 years on is different, but still as real as it was when like a month past his passing.
Mhm.
And that's what was most shocking to me is like, I thought, you know, when I was 10, like by 7th grade, I'll got this. No, here I am 31 and I'm still like paralyzed by this pain on days and like ready to like fall over. But you know, it's learning to acknowledge it. It's like, you're real, and me telling you that you're fake
Yeah.
does me no favors. And in fact, it hinders my ability to live with you. And it's like an unwelcome roommate, really, that you gotta learn how to live with.
An unwelcome roommate that you have to learn to live with. That's it.
That's it. Done.
That's it.
It's life.
Holy shit.
I don't hear
I'm glad
Cole's.
you're here, Cole.
I'm really glad to hear him swear. Because
I never swear. And it's on camera.
I know you don't.
You got me.
I got you to swear on camera. I'm like,
I think-
I'm like sitting here like, yeah.
But that's the thing, is like
Said shit like 3 times.
but that's the thing about like cursing is that like within the English language,
Yes.
they have meaning and uses that are exclusive and why they are
Oh,
like
you're getting
special
too
words.
philosophical right now.
No, I'm not. It's honest. Like, 'cause I'm gonna have people like, man, you said fuck like 3 times in regards to Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
Yes, I fucking did.
Yeah.
Because, like, we're dealing with the end of the emotional spectrum to which
Absolutely.
there's really, I don't have other words to reach that emotional point
for sure.
that I'm trying to make.
Yeah. That's good.
It's true. It's true.
good.
Okay,
So let's land the plane.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
we're gonna land the plane, but mostly I actually, because this is more appropriate now than ever, I would like everyone to say the one thing that they're working on, and or this is the plug moment. This is the thing, like, hey, I'm working on this. I really am passionate about it. Check it out here if you're interested. That kind of vibe, because there's plenty of that in our lives, and if they're interested, they can check it out.
For sure.
Even if it's just your Instagram and like, this is what I do for a living, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
so you want me to go first?
Yeah, Cole.
Yeah, this is low key, but I'm actually pretty stoked because so I am throwing an emo night in Grand Rapids where it's just we're gonna play like Taking Back Sunday and all this other stuff. It's gonna be great. But just found out about a partnership with Third Chair Counseling, and so there's gonna be an official sponsor where it's like, hey,
At emo night?
yes,
Are you serious?
Wow.
dead serious.
That's so good.
I know,
Wow.
because it's called Get Sad, and it's like, hey, all of us can come for a
Right.
night and get sad, but the next day is
Okay.
going to be harder for other people than. And so, if it is one of those harder days for you, here's an avenue for you to actually do something about
That's
that.
powerful.
Well done,
Yeah.
my guy. I agree.
Well, I
Well
didn't.
done, dude.
I said the idea, and I was like, it was my therapist, Scott, that said, like, hey,
Wait.
I love my therapist. And so he's the one that said, like,
Yeah.
I think it'd be great for us. Like, let's
Yeah.
do this together. And I'm like,
That's
Wow.
awesome. That's really awesome, man.
so
Yeah,
that's
that's great.
something
Yeah.
I'm excited
Yeah.
for the emo night. It's gonna be fun no matter what. But to have like that on ramp for people who could like
Good.
use that,
That's good.
fucking A.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's good.
This is going to be super cheesy, but the reality is, like, I'm actually very excited about this. If you have not seen the movie Camp Mana yet,
Yes.
I have been running the social media campaign
And
for it for
killing it.
quite
Yeah,
some
yeah,
time.
yeah.
And I really think everybody should watch this movie.
I think I should too.
Camp
It's
Mana the
fun.
movie, or it's at Camp Mana the movie, or is it at Camp Mana? Shit.
This
This
is
is
the
like
one
my.
thing-
This is the one
It's
thing I
the
should
real
know right
name
now.
is-
I think it's at
Just
Camp
let me
Mana
know.
movie.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
the
Camp Mana
official
movie.
Instagram handle. That's where you want to go if you want to learn about this movie. Also, you should just watch it on iTunes.
Yeah,
It's worth the money.
It's worth the money.
it is.
Check it out.
100%. I pre-ordered. I pre-ordered that shit. Like I said kind of earlier, I'm doing some projects and experiments on the weekend, so I thought about sharing those a little bit more publicly with people on social media and stuff. So I might do some of that in the future. But right now, I'm pretty low key on social
Yeah, I was
media.
gonna say. I feel like you haven't really
Kinda like a little bit
you're
buried.
you haven't
Buried
posted
right
on
now.
your actual.
You're an introvert.
Instagram
I
page.
think it's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years.
I think it's been 2 years since I posted on Instagram. Actually,
Can we change that?
Yeah,
soon.
we can, but like the
It's gonna have to be like this, like epic.
It's
thing.
either gotta
Or
be
not,
epic,
or just the
it's
lowest key thing
or it's
of
like
all
the
time.
last French fry in the bag. It's like, kind of like it's really like bottom of the barrel or like top of the mountain. So yeah, that's really what I have going on. I might do something with that here pretty soon.
Cool. Yeah. I've got a lot going on.
Oh,
yeah.
So I'm gonna see if I can break this all
Yep.
down. For the most part, my handle on Facebook, Instagram is Cole Speaks, and a lot of the work that I do is traveling and speaking, doing speaking engagements. I volunteer and teach inside 2 prisons in here in Michigan, so I work primarily with fathers that are either returning home or fathers that are currently in prison. So, and I actually do that with my son. So we teach a 12-week class that we created the curriculum for. Yeah, and we go into the prisons and we work primarily with dads. And a lot of my work also is I teach inside the detention center here in the county. And so one of the big projects that we're working on is how do I become something I don't see. And so I'm partnered with Gorilla, and they have come on board.
Nice.
They have come on board just as volunteers to sort of help narrate this project around helping young men sort of see themselves through the lives of other
It'll be on
men in the
YouTube
community.
real soon.
So yes, we will have a YouTube channel where you can see these live interviews of the young men and the men in the community sort of sharing these stories together. And then my next big project is in conjunction to how do I become something I don't see, is my comic book series.
Nice.
Yeah, it's called The League of Extraordinary Fathers.
What?
And these are like 7 African American superhero fathers who will battle.
I didn't know
the
you were
impact.
actually talking about this right
Yes,
now.
I'm talking about it because we're going to make an Instagram page and we need followers to begin to support the movement.
You've got 3.
But yes, and so the concept really is involved. Yeah, so he's involved. Kane is involved with the project. But I'm really excited about it. It's been my labor of love for quite some time, and so
I'm gonna post a photo about the League of Extraordinary Fathers.
That's
There's like we've done that at like almost every episode now, and I think one moment of a photo, it's cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
I don't think we've ever done an episode this efficiently.
I
or
don't
this
know if we need to edit
concisely.
anything.
We're not
Fingers
going
crossed.
to. We're not going to. This is like straight through. So,
That's straight through.
thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
A little bit.
Cheers,
out.
y'all.
A little bit of that, not much.
See you
Oh,
later.
yeah, I guess
Next
it's
time.
just-
There's nothing in my
There's
cup.
nothing in there.
I'd like a little bit of
Left it all on the field.
Just like a
Left it all on the field.
Is that camera died yet?
No,
Cool.
we're still rolling.
I think we can hang out after the cameras shut off.
Yeah,